restrictions, IDL. Two major ones, right? What are they?
No passengers under 20.
Passenger restriction
You know what that
and a
means?
time restriction. Good. Okay, so very specifically, what's the passenger restriction once you get your license? Okay, no one less than 20 years of age. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Just think teenagers and younger, right? Once you get to 20, then we're okay on board. No one under 20 years of age, unless family. Good. Who counts as family? Brothers and sisters? Mom and dad, of course. They're pretty young at the end of 20. They like to feel that way.
Cousins.
Cousins? Oh, that's a critical one. Cousins that live with you? Yes. Like stepbrothers, stepsisters, etc. Okay? Cousins that live with you. Good. But if they're a distant relative, just visiting, no. Okay? They'll lapse. Maybe you can get away with it. Typically, officers will just issue a warning for the first time. Give you a warning and don't do it again, and maybe send you on your way. Unless, what's the time restriction? I've seen some Covington cops just sit looking for teens around that witching hour of 1 p.m. All right? Right there, 1 o'clock till when? 5 a.m., good. And then pull them over right there. And then the stop takes so long that guess what? Oh, by the time they're done with it, it's after 1 a.m. What's going to happen? Get mom and dad on the phone. They try to take off. No, they won't let them try to take off and get pulled over again. But no, they'll get mom and dad on the phone, drag them out of bed, come get you or whatever. They're not too happy about that. Why do they do this? Why do they give you a curfew of 1 to 5? Well, it's the reason behind all the things that we do typically in legislating use of the roadways and having traffic safety education. What does traffic safety ed do on the whole? It helps to reduce fatalities or crashes. Okay? Well, what do you suppose 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. is all about? Why did they just choose that? It's not randomly chosen, is it? It's not 1 in the afternoon to 5 p.m. Why those hours?
Because for school.
For what? For school? Like you got to get up early the next morning and all? Exactly. You really should be asleep during those hours, typically. Absolutely. Your body wants to be asleep. It's going to force you to sleep if you're not listening to it. What else? Pardon me? It's one of the most dangerous times. Why? Here's this other 2 a.m. What's going on then? You know? Yeah, that's it. Bars closed. So now what's happening to the roads? They're getting flooded with the drunk drivers. It's a crazy, dangerous time to be driving out there. Most fatalities that occur on our roadways around midnight are committed. 80% of them, in fact, committed by 28-year-olds, males, driving drunk. It's outrageously high. So you're at a high risk, for driving out there at that time. Well, best not to do. I mean, where are they going to go? The bar's closed. They're drunk already. They're not going to sleep it off. They're not going to put a cot up in the back of the bar. They're going to hit the road with you, okay? So, it's actually, this is the statistic. You're 10 times likelier to get in a crash during those 4 hours of the day than any other time of the day. 10 times likelier. Most guys are about 4 times likelier than their female counterparts to get in crashes any time of the day. And then all of the teens combined are 4 times as likely to get in a crash during the light hour days compared to everybody else. But at night, during those 4 hours, fatality rates skyrocket. Okay? That's one reason for it. How long does that last? How long does that restriction last? Definitely 6 months, and then more. An entire year, one year long, 12 months. This restriction of no one under 20 lasts for how long? That's the one that lasts for 6 months, okay? 6 months. What happens at 6 months? You what? Yeah, you graduate essentially, okay? You graduate to allowing 3 passengers on board your vehicle that are what age? Under 20, and they're obviously not your siblings, family members, okay? How many people can you sit in your car? Just 3? 5? You can get 5 people in your car? Okay, so you take 3 of your friends in there, and plus yourself, now you got 1 seat available. What do you do with it? Huh? Leave it empty? Fill it up? Who can sit in it? You got one of those? Okay. We won't say anything. The restriction is just like our restriction as adults. You can drive as many people that your license allows, based on the number of what in your vehicle? Seat belts, that's it. Yeah, seats with seat belts. Okay? So you can drive as many as how many people? You guys know? Maybe you have one of these at your school or church or synagogues. Huh? It's a kind of a little bus. Yeah. How many total? Yeah. 15 passenger van. You guys can drive as many as 14 passengers plus yourself. As long as, what's the restriction? 3. No more than 3. No more than 3 are under 20 years of age. No more than 3. So that leaves how many left you can drive around in your 15 passenger van? 11. Wow. Yeah, we're talking responsibility now. I don't recommend it. In fact, these are one of the most unsafe vehicles on the road. But that's what the law allows. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how the law affects your driving, okay, what your IDL is, what the restrictions are, and how they're lifted.
I have no idea.
How long does that last, that restriction? Yeah, another 6 months. Very good. So you're up to, say, you get your license at 16 years of age. That is a Y. And then now you're at 17 years of age, another 6 months later. Guess what happens? Well, it's still an IDL, it's still called an IDL. In fact, that IDL license that you have will remain an IDL in paper or on the card for at least until you get it renewed, which is when? How long do you get your license for in this state? A little bit more. 5 years. So 21. And then they change the card. What does the card look like now? Yeah, that's right. It's horizontal. So that what? Why did they make it horizontal instead of this vertical? Yeah, it's in the card. Yeah, okay. But actually, at 17, a full year on your IDL, no citations like you saw with that girl down in Lacey, no crashes, no collisions, no firearm violations, you packing, and definitely no crashes, all right? No alcohol, drug. Well, it all goes away. Those restrictions lift, and they consider you a viable driver, responsible on the road. Okay? But then, of course, you still have one last restriction. And that goes away too. And so you're still 17, you're still underage. What's your last restriction? What's your last restriction? It's the only other thing you didn't mention about getting your license. You passed all your tests, you passed driver's ed, and 6 months on your permit. What do you still have to pass in your home to get your license? You're underage. You're under 18. You're required to have what? I think you know it. Parents' consent. You don't get it unless you get it approved by them. That's it. That's your final rubber stamp. Okay? You got to get past that. So what is that going to mean? How are you going to negotiate that? What's that?
I said, so be nice.
Yeah, be nice, listen to how they drive, listen to what they say. Maybe you have other restrictions, maybe you still have, I can still get my 16, 17-year-olds curfews. Okay, they're gonna be in at a certain hour, I don't want them out there anyway, driving around those drunks. They need to be, okay? So, you got all that still to deal with. On your IP, I had that up here earlier, remember what that stands for? Instructional permit, okay? You have actually a little slightly different restrictions. There's a passenger restriction and there's not really a time restriction, except what you're given in your city or by your parents, but what's the passenger restriction for your instructional permit? You know? You drive friends around, in other words? How'd you do that? No? Because parents say so? But what does the law say? And what do we have to do as driver's ed instructors in the car with you for at least 1 hour of your traffic safety experience? You have to, what? You have to be driven around. You have to be an observer in the back while who's driving?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's on their instructional permit. The only restriction on your IP is the fact that who's sitting where is what age, for how many years of driving? 21 years of age, so no instructor at any of our schools could be under 21 years of age and on their license for at least 5 years. That is your number one and only restriction. Okay? 21 plus and 5 years on your DL, driver's license. Okay? And there actually is no time restriction. You can drive at 1, 2 in the morning, right? As long as you have whom?
Parent.
There you go, right there beside you. Okay, now you can't drive a parent home drunk or anything like that. They gotta be, they're sober and awake and they're the responsible licensed driver in the vehicle. So you can't do those kinds of things. Okay? Is there an exception for the time rule on your IDL? Is there an exception? Can you drive at 1, 2 in the morning? Yeah, what was it? What was the restriction?
With parents.
Could be with a parent, yeah. Somebody at least what age?
21.
Actually now, it's different.
21.
The law's kind of weird here. You gotta be older.
25.
Yeah, 25 years of age. Okay, during the 1 to 5 in the morning. Okay, that's the exception. So why 25? Well, kind of makes sense. 25, you're much more experienced. Maybe 10 years of driving. Okay, better at handling the road. There's some other privileges you gain at 25 that you don't see earlier. We'll look at that in just a second. But those are restrictions you need to memorize. Be tested on it. We'll come back to it. Why do we have traffic safety in the first place? Why do it? Why? What's the overarching kind of reason for this? Why require you to go? Well, what happens to certain states that experience a graduated license program? Teen fatality is what?
Down.
They're down. In fact, they're down by 25%. 25% in those states. So think of it this way. Out of 100 people that you know in the state that die as a result of a car crash each year, well, because of the traffic safety ed laws, we have 75 die. 25 still alive as a result. Still tragic. You've got 75 young lives. You know how old you have to be before you start dying from something else besides a car crash? It's the number one killer of teenagers. Right? You know that. Yes? You're going to die young. You're going to die because of a car crash. It's the most dangerous thing you do any day of the week. 17-year-olds are the most often killed on the road. I'm going to put a little kind of lifeline up here in a graph and say that at 16, 17, 18, the fatality rate on a line graph would go something like this. 17-year-olds top the list. The highest most often killed on the road. Obviously, you get better with time, you get better. At 21, you're starting to get really good. There's 5 years of driving on average. And the fatality rate drops almost in half. It gets better, right? Here's another landmark. Here's 25. Reduces again. 25. That's what we're looking for. People to drive you, on your IDL during those wee morning hours, 1 to 5 a.m. Well, at 25, something happens remarkably with your insurance. It gets reduced, almost cut in half, especially guys. It drops because the fatality rate has dropped so well. The crash rate among 25-year-olds has dropped so much. You're getting better. After 10 years, finally, hey, we're getting good at this thing. You still get better. There's always room for improvement, right? Who do you think is the best one out there on the road? The age of the best driver right now in their life, during the course of your life, on average. Say it again. Say it. It's those people sitting around you. That's right. People in their 40s to 50s have done really well for ourselves at that time, okay? In other words, your best teachers are your parents at home. The ones that are doing so well right now after so many years of driving. They've got a lot of experience under their belt. Take advantage of it. Learn from it. Learn from your instructors. But as with every kind of, bell curve, what's going to happen later on in life? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tragically, we've got, later on in life, some pretty bad drivers. Bad driving habits. Okay? We create those over our time. And things just happen to us. We get older and we start falling apart. One of the first things to go is really what? Eyesight. Yeah, that's it. Eyesight. We need glasses. We're not seeing very well anymore on the road. How old do you think you are? Way out here. Look at this fatality rate. We're back up to where we were when we were 17. How old do you think you way out here? 70? 80? What? Let's put 70 right about there. That's my parents. They're on their way back up. 80?
90.
Yeah, that's it. 90 years of age, way out here, and you're killing people and running into things as much as you were when you were 17. Here's the implication. Right now it's 16, 17. Y'all are driving like 90-year-olds on the road. Okay, that's the statistics in terms of what's happening out there, Except you're on the other side of the bell curve, so you're getting better. What do you have to your advantages? Better than a 90-year-old. That works to your advantage as a driver. Somebody said it. It's definitely eyesight. Yeah, it's really some of the #1 rules of driving. All right, we're going to teach you how to, in other words, use your eyes differently than you've ever used them before. You've only been what in your vehicle for the most part all your life? A passenger. You haven't had the chance to move from the back seat, wherever it is, passenger, over to the driving seat. Right? Now you've got to use your eyes differently from this angle. As the person in control, responsible for that vehicle and its passengers, differently than before. We're going to teach you that tomorrow, especially. Methods for using your eyes. Okay? That's the #1 thing to go. Absolutely. What else happens to older people as we start losing things, control? You're in, yeah, absolutely. Trying to back out of a stall. You don't hear that horn from the passing motorist. Right? You continue backing. Actually, you might not be backing up right anymore, too. How you backing up as you're getting later in your years? Can you back up? What do you rely on? Your mirrors. You're just looking. You don't even care about it anymore. I'm backing up. Everybody get out of my way. My turn to go. You got to do what? Still, to make sure that things are okay around your vehicle. How do you pay attention? How do you look? Where should you be looking? Especially if you're doing lane changes, merges, moving from side to side in the road. Where do you look to make sure it's all okay? Are your mirrors good enough? There you go, your blind spots you mentioned. How do you look behind you? It's a method we'll teach you and drill you We want you to look over your shoulder. We call it a head check, okay? A head check. And whichever direction you're moving that vehicle, you better be doing that. What happens to 9-year-olds?
Smaller.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, they get a little smaller and tighter, and what happens? Can't really move they've lost some agility. They've lost their flexibility. They've also lost what? Maybe they're on the gas pedal.
Reaction.
Their reaction time to get to the brake or back over to the gas pedal. Sometimes older drivers were taught something we never teach anymore, to drive with both feet. We had one of those today, Mr. McFarland, you didn't see from the back seat.
I did.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you felt it or something, so you looked down. Confirm. Yeah, older gentlemen driving with both and kind of confusing them too. And that's what happens as you get older. You might step on the gas, you meant to be stepping on the brake. No good. Causes mayhem on the road, okay? So, you guys definitely have better eyesight. You have better flexibility, agility, okay? Reaction time, all those things. You're more athletic. And that's why you get better over time. But guess what? You still got to learn those habits, checking in your blind spot. Scanning properly, looking left last at intersections before you go through. Looking always for the pedestrian who has right of way, etc. If you're not doing that now on a consistent basis and applying those rules of the road, then you lose it over time. How long does it take to create a habit, you think? How many? How long? Yeah. 28 days, 28, 30 days. That's all we get in the classroom. Is that enough? Can I teach you a habit? I can teach you how to create a habit for yourself, maybe, but I can't create that habit in you yourself. Yours, but can your parents do it? What are you doing when they're not around? Okay? Who has to? You have to create the habit yourself. And it's going to take you those many times. So when we're on the road with you and doing these drills and these exercises, we're patient with you, be patient with us. We're trying to drill you just so you create that habit yourself. All right? Signal, mirror, over shoulder, and then go. Signal, mirror, over shoulder, then go. Okay? All these steps. Scan, left, right, straight, left, last in an intersection. We're giving you all these steps. All these steps, repetitively, so that you can create that for yourself. And then we want you to repeat it back to us. It's what's called commentary or narrative driving. We want you to say it back to us so we know what you're thinking. Because otherwise, it's what imaginary friends you got inside your head. Or thing. We don't know. We want to hear from you, okay? So our lessons behind the wheel are going to be really interactive, really intense. We want to help you create those habits for yourself. Okay? Questions so far on restrictions, licensing, how we get our permit, what's required for the course, any other things? Our driving lessons will be scheduled typically the third day or second week of class, so we want you to come with some options available for you. We do drive lessons before class, during the course, but you don't want to sign up for one during class. You need to be in class to get those full 2 hours. After class sometimes at 9 o'clock, or weekend hours and days we don't have class, so Thursday, Friday typically, and then the weekends. We want to schedule at least 3 or 4 drives for you straight out this week, by the beginning of next week. You have to have your permit in hand for us to do that, because we don't want to schedule for something if we don't have that permit yet, right? And if you need that permit before you leave, make sure you see me so I get you signing up for that License Express account. Okay? Anything else? Before you get your license, and this is where parents want to, free to stay and all. I've got another special video. We talk about something that's, again, maybe a privilege on your license. Some of you had it on your permit. I noticed that. Get your permits out again. Permit. Definitely by the time you get to this stage, you'll be asked by a licensed service representative at the state if you wanted to participate in this. Do you guys know what the RES stands for on your permit? RES? You seen that? I'm surprised you don't have it because you're wearing something. RES. I saw this today on a student's permit. It said, see, look at her. Okay, you're wearing your contacts then, aren't you? No, she wasn't. She said she doesn't need glasses. She wasn't wearing anything when she took her eye exam at the state. Everybody has to go through that eye exam. We're always looking right here on your permit before you drive to see if you got any restrictions on there. And this is one of the more common ones. C stands for corrective lens. Anybody got it? On theirs? Anybody?
I passed mine
Got it?
without it.
Got it? What's that?
I said I passed mine without my glasses.
Without your glasses, okay, so maybe you're farsighted? Yeah, so me too. I don't really need these to drive, okay, but I need them to read. Okay? We're looking for that. Make sure when you go and get your permit for the first time, if you do wear glasses or contacts, you take them with you. You're going to be given that test. Okay? I was looking for something else too on there. Let me see. Oh, you guys are all going to get this if you haven't got your permit for the first time. It is it's a paper one, and then they mail you the hard copy within a few days. It's a pretty quick turnaround. And I see it on there. I see what I'm looking for on there. How about you see it there. No restrictions. Good. How about that one? No restrictions. It's a good thing. It usually shows up in red. That's why it's harder to see it. You guys know what the little red. Hard to.
Oregon.
Yeah, one of our, you got it on there, organ donor, okay. Personally, I've been an organ donor since I was on my permit at 15. All right, and I still got it. It's right there in the upper corner. It's a little different looking license. It's all red and everything. It's enhanced license. It's got a chip in there so I can go across the border if I want to. The little heart right there indicates still an organ donor. They're going to ask you at some point if you want to be a part of it. If you don't want to be a part of it, no big deal. You just got to say yes or no. But the state requires us to show you what that program is all about. It's called a Living Legacy, and of course it's been around. It's a registry that's been around for decades. Like I said, I was Living Legacy. You go to livinglegacy.org. To find out more about it. Like I said, I've been a donor since 15, and when I was 17, I actually was a recipient of the program. Particular reason. Well, when you get involved in a crash, you might end up needing what? Especially any crash, especially of a major trauma on the road, high impact. Yeah, the stuff that pumps through your heart. You're going to need blood because you're going to bleed out internally. We call that hemorrhaging. And that's typically where hospitals go to get a good blood supply if their donations are low. At any rate, I got to show you a quick little video hosted by a high schooler in the state from Spokane. She herself was dying her, I think, junior year or senior year of chronic liver disease. And wouldn't have graduated except that her physicians in Spokane.
Donate life.